Hello, hello. Greetings from Halifax City, Nova Scotia Province, Canada. My name is Simba K. Protichara Proto. Today I'd like to talk about living mindfully, living mindfully, living in a mindful universe. This book is by Eben Alexander. He's a doctor. Eben Alexander. He's a doctor. And it's a neuroscience journey into the heart of consciousness, our neuroscience journey into the heart of consciousness. And the book talks about, let's have a look at it. Eben Alexander and Karen Newell, those are the writers of the book. And it talks about making sense of all. In other words, all things in life or consciousness or the reality of human existence, and being able to live in a more mindful, more compassionate, more true way with loving kindness and being caring, being able to share, being able to dare to bring out the beautiful soul within you, within me, and within each and every one, so that we can contribute meaningfully towards humanity. The um, the he also talks about the hard problems in life. In other words, how do we deal with difficulties and problems and situations that are challenging in life, and how do we how can you or me or us as humanity be able to honestly deal with situations that are challenging in life, and what do we do in situations like that? So and he talks about science, when science meets spirituality. So what is the connection between science and spirituality, and how do we work with that? How do we balance the two so that we're able to walk a life with personal integrity, with professional integrity, with a national sense of integrity, or with a family that has integrity, being able to live with in peace and with love and with unity of purpose, and work together with other people that are very smart and from various families, various cultural groups, or various countries, or various territories and kingdoms of this world, and be able to team up together and um, contribute the best possible that we can towards humanity, and in a good way, and because it's not about being corrupt or being crafty or being greedy. It's about being able to contribute, each one being able to contribute the best they can in a good way, and improving in life, being contributing in a better and better way throughout lifetime. And also being able to learn that life is short. So it's important to be able to use each and every moment in life in a mindful way, and living and being able to live in a world mindfully, and being able to utilize the resources, the energy, and the time in this universe mindfully as a human being. And uh, this is probably related to how someone is brought up, or how someone chooses to be in their own life, and how we bring together the skills and the knowledge and the understanding and the wisdom. It's a choice to be knowledgeable, understanding, and wise, and also it's a personal attitude on how we contribute or share that, or use technology, or manage other things in life resourcefully, respectfully, and reasonably, to contribute towards improvement of humanity, which is a continuous aspect of humanity. Because even if we're doing well, we can improve it. If someone wants to cause harm, that's their choice, and that would be self-harming, or like harming their own children, or harming their own family, or harming the human family, or trying to take advantage of others, and that's called corruption. And corruption is caused by greed. Greed is driven by materialism. In other words, love of money, which is the root of all evil. And that is also related to something called the pursuit of happiness in the US, which is an endless pursuit, because if you're pursuing something, and happiness is very fickle, it keeps changing, it comes and goes, and it's momentary. So there's also this, that, and it just fuels a lot of greed and competition, trying to outsmart this, people shooting each other, people not caring about each other, or like leaving people to be homeless on the street, or like um, not caring to support someone like Mother Teresa, or people like that that really care about humanity, or like anyone that has a non-profit, or like people that are compassionate. So, but there are some few people within each and every society, or each and every family, or each and every community that care about humanity. These are the people that we ought to support. We ought to support. But usually the greedy ones are the ones that are boisterous, that are looking for opportunity, or like that are bullies, or like that are carrying guns, or like in the police force, or in the military, or these are the ones that uh, that uh, that they use force to achieve what can be achieved with grace, or with kindness, or with love, or with compassion. So it's up to each one to choose their own path of life, and there's no perfect human being. Everyone has their own moods and moments and times of anxiety, or times of of stress, or like times of happiness, or times of joy, or times of this, or times of the other, and different emotions in a human body, or human mind, or human spirit, or the human soul. But it's important to be able to learn how to bring out the good soul of a person, and become like a beautiful flower, which is vulnerable but also very beautiful, and achieving its purpose without hurting the other flower, or like without judging others, or without causing harm, or without or just being beautiful in your own respectful way, in my own respectful way. And that's possible for each and everyone. It's possible for each and everyone. He also talks about in this book, it also talks about the primordial mind hypothesis, and trusting personal experience and working with it, and the power of prayer. Prayer is mindfulness, or meditation, or like just being able to like walk through individual thoughts, either to some supernatural being of human imagination called God, or like focusing on what is it that my family wants to do, or my ancestors care about, which is all called a cultural value, or like our nation, our country, our group of people, with what is our national value, what do we care about, or like a corporate value, or like personal integrity. These are things that can guide a person, and the moral compass, or like the idea of what is right, what is wrong, what is worthy, what is not worthy. These are things that guide a person. So that's the idea of in spirituality it's called prayer. In law it is called people appeal to the judge, or to uh, a team of people that are making a decision, and they pray, and they request, or like they appeal, or like we make an intercession into like, and the lawyer would advocate for the rights of that person, which is called the birthright, or the rights in the situation, or argue the case according to the freedoms that are available, so that the person has dignity, and they would represent the person. So that's like the role of a lawyer, or a good lawyer. But usually many lawyers are very corrupt and very devious, and they look for loopholes in the law that they can use. But a good lawyer, a truly good person would look for truth, and ability to reconcile, ability to resolve the issue, ability to find a way forward on how to work with the situation and overcome the challenges, and also work in the best interest of humanity, or the nation, or the parties concerned. So which is a role of each and every person and especially it's the role of the fortunate to take care of the less fortunate. For example, people with disabilities, or people with mental health, anxiety, or illness, or people that are going through struggles in life. This is these are things that that a rational person that has reason, or a person that has privilege, or a person that has some kind of a position, or like advantage, or like some kind of success would work towards. And so long as a person has a good soul and has a good upbringing, even if one has gone through struggles, or like suffering, or like challenges, or being homeless, or like being whatever kinds of suffering in life, they can make those things can make someone even much more compassionate, because I can understand, I can relate to what it is to suffer, or like people that are naturally caring. And if you're someone like me that has gone through homeless situation, I was homeless for about 10 years in Halifax City, Nova Scotia province, Canada. And it's not easy. You live in the cold. It's a very cold country, especially in winter. And you don't know, you're not, your blankets get wet, and the challenges of this, you're concerned about where to sleep, where to be safe, and um, and where to find food, and just dealing with the necessities of life, let alone trying to improve yourself and stuff like that. So also, some people may have natural ability to care. People like Mother Teresa, who from her childhood, she just wanted to serve humanity. Or people like Martin Luther King, or like Nelson Mandela, or like Princess Diana, who was considered people's princess. She was very, very caring. You can see it in her two children, Prince William and Prince Harry. They're also very, very caring. Um, uh, Prince William usually goes to Kenya and takes care of elephants and rhinos and other animals in Kenya, and he likes it because he's treated with as a human being there, not as a super celebrity. So he appreciates that, and his brother Harry. Works in a non-profit in the US. He also like was kind of homeless when he was in the US initially, and the Queen was trying to sort out where he was going to live and whatever, and it takes time. So he was housed by I think he was housed by Tyler Perry, who is of African heritage, and he housed them, and now he works with a non-profit. Well, he ended up working with a non-profit with his wife Megan, and they were handing out sandwiches or water and things like that during the time of health crisis that affected the whole world. And he was in the street. And uh, he was on the street, giving water, giving comfort, giving encouragement, giving um, uh, just whatever he could do to care for humanity. And he kind of had that caring nature even when he was served in the military a lot, and he visited Canada a lot. He traveled a lot when he was younger, and he always had that caring nature from the mother's side mostly. But the Queen also cares. You can tell she cares. She's been holding on to power for over 90 years, waiting for someone that she could hand over to, and hopefully it looks like she may hand over to one of the two grandchildren, and or even if it's to Charles, whoever, it's their British that decide that it's their country, and it's their role. And I live in Canada. In Canada, the administrative leader of Canada is the Queen of England. We call her the Queen of Canada too, and also she also administrates Australia and has influence in the US, a lot of influence. And um, and uh, so so uh, and she doesn't control the whole world. She just controls about 1/6 of it, and other communities, or like cultural heritage groups control 5/6 of the world. So anyways, so I live in Canada, so I can talk about the administrative leader of this country, because the land in Canada belongs to Aboriginal kingdoms, great Aboriginal kingdoms. One of in this, I live in Nova Scotia province. Nova Scotia is part of the great Mi'kmaq kingdom, which covers Nova Scotia province, New Brunswick province, Newfoundland province, PEI, and parts of Quebec and northeastern USA. So it's a great kingdom, and it's been divided and ruled and split so that other settlers can take advantage of it. But they have a treaty. It's called a treaty in Canada. There's a treaty between the Aboriginal people and the Queen of England. So the Queen administrates the country and runs the country, and to do that, she gave various provinces to various cultural heritage European tribes. Such as the Scottish, and which come from a group. Nova Scotia is run by the Scottish. It's called New Scotland, and the Scottish come from a group called the Gaelic. The Gaelic is a European tribe or community, a larger group. Which is split into the Gaelic and the Irish. So the Irish run Newfoundland, and the Scottish run Nova Scotia, and the French run Quebec, and the English run New Brunswick, and the Acadians, which Acadians is a mixture of is like from the French and the Babylonian. So they run New Brunswick, and the English run and a mixture of the Acadian too run run Prince Edward Island, and Quebec is run by the French. So the French, and then the ones from the low-lying countries of Europe, which is like Holland, Switzerland, and parts of the other low-lying countries, I think, including Norway and Germany and all the other countries. The Germans are spread all over, but the low-lying countries, they like agriculture, so they run the prairie provinces, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Queen runs the farthest or maritime, the farthest, the BC, which British Columbia, which is on the western coast. And then there's the north, which is three territories that they are really, really huge, very, very big, and they are called territories because they are still governed by the Aboriginal people that live there, or the Inuit and Eskimos, and they are just administrated by an appointed person by the Canadian government or by the Queen, who runs them as and they have their own form of government too there. And the U.S. used to be very similar, but they broke away from the Queen, and they now have something called federal. It's federal, so it's federal, and they have states. About 50 states, I think, 50 states, and each state has a governor, and they govern their own business, their own law, and this and the other, and then there's a national or federal government that runs the military, that runs this, that runs the other, and there's also like a federal reserve which runs the finance and the central bank and all this, which is the Federal Reserve is more like a privatized way of running the government. So, and then there's the elected president who's chosen by the people, but it's kind of like appointed by a few people that run that have a say in the federal running of the government. So how democratic is it? Who knows? It's split in the middle between races and between interest groups, and there's sometimes a third party, and which doesn't have much of an influence. So the country is kind of divided and ruled in between, and just a few families play this side and this side and this side. That's how they have control. But but it's usually very corrupt control, and it's because it's very manipulative and very crafty. But humanity is designed to have to live with mindfulness. We tend to live with mindfulness. There's something called human rights. Human rights is a birthright of each and every human being to live with dignity, to live with freedom, and to live with responsibility, personal responsibility. So this is what this book is about: living in a mindful universe and being able to live mindfully. Okay, it also talks about the practice of going within. In other words, finding that resourcefulness within a person, within your mind, within my goals, within your uh, uh, within a family or within cultural heritage, bring out the good values of the cultural heritage, and kind of laying aside those things that are detrimental, or like that outdated. Like there's no need to be living in 1200 thinking, or like 1600 thinking, or like wanting to. It's like a dog that wants to go back to vomit and eat it. So that's like just like ridiculous. The humanity is moving forward. We are now in, in each year we move forward to with new thinking, new technology. Each moment of life, people are writing books. You can see there's so many books here, and people are talking about new ideas and new ways of thinking, new ways of collaborating. The world is getting multicultural, but also each and every person and each and every cultural heritage has its own contribution to humanity. And these are things that new ideas that people are working with, and it's important for each and every other person to bring from within them the practice of going within and bring out the beauty within the mind, within the soul, the body, the spirit, skills, creativity. And if one is a cook, if one is a lawyer, if one wants to be like an engineer, if one wants to be an architect, if one wants, so it's the role of humanity to facilitate the ability of each and every one, because each and everyone has natural genius within them, and it's about figuring out how to facilitate that. And a good government would do that, or a good family does that, or a good society does that, or a good relationship does that. So and so be wise in how you choose a good relationship, a good government, and let's be wise, more wise about that, more knowledgeable, more understanding, more compassionate, more caring about things like that as we go forward in this year and in future generations of our experience of life. And he also talks about riding the wave of consciousness. In other words, thinking or feeling or emotion or like experience, using the energy and the time in life wisely, or the spaces we have. Einstein talking about time and space, and figuring out how to use the energy of a person, uh, and the resources we have within the universe, and working with that to achieve success in a meaningful way, and learning from our mistakes, correcting them, adjusting so that we can move forward as humanity, either as individuals or as families, or whatever, or as a country or a kingdom or a territory or a cultural heritage group, and working together with other parts of humanity, whether it's the African heritage, whether it's the Aboriginal cultural heritage, whether it's the Arabic or Middle East, or Jew, including all the Jews and everyone else in the Middle East, and the Europeans and the Asians. We can all work together, and respecting each one as they are in whichever country or whichever administrative unit, and contributing whatever resources they have, products or services, or towards the good of humanity. And hopefully we take care of the good environment of our planet Earth, because this is our home. It's like, for example, my mother, she's 86, and I call her every day, so I care about her. And I'm the last one in the family. It's my cultural responsibility to care for my mother and the homestead, and and the family. So I do that even when I'm in Canada. I do that, and then I go visit my mother about once a year, or as often as possible, and to see how she's doing, and I help. I plant vegetable, I plant bananas, I help with fencing because she has a farm, and taking care of the cows or whatever help that she needs, and then also help with her healthcare needs and that kind of thing. Because it's the same way we need to care about Mother Earth, because this is where we live, and the body, the mind, the spirit, or the soul, good soul we have is from Mother Earth. It's from different parts of the universe, but it's channeled through our Mother Earth. Anyway, and also he talks about being the love that you are, being the love that I am, being the love, the true loving kindness that we are. Bring it out and then be more of it. Be more of it. It's about improving the individual consciousness and figuring out, oh, what is it that I can do to be a more loving, kind person, and to have caring compassion about myself, about others, about the human family, about this world and the universe, and working with that to bring out the best possible, and also resolving key questions and new ideas and solutions, and coming up with good solutions, and answering the questions that are within us, or within me, within you, figuring that out, learning our soul lessons to be a good soul, the challenges we face, and overcoming, figuring out how to overcome those challenges. There's a song that says, "We shall overcome." So figuring out how to work with the challenges, or like people that are competitive, people that are that want to do harm, or people that or want to have self-interest or greed and this and that. How do we work with that? How do we, because not everybody will be like super good. There are people that have in various types of intentions in humanity, but we are all part of the same humanity. And all, even the worst person has kindness in them. They have a good soul in them. Or even the best person has their moments of anger, or their moments, even in the religious teachings and spiritual teachings, and they talk about sometimes God has anger, it's righteous anger, or whatever type of anger, and God is able to repent. Or the idea of God, is it just a human understanding of our own selves and the way we perceive the world? So these are things that we can figure out for yourself respectfully, and with all due respect. And freedom of choice, and mind over matter. So the conscious, the human will. What is it that I want to do, I will to do, and I care about, and how can I work with that with the rest of humanity, and thriving in the heart of consciousness. So this is what this is about, that book, living in a mindful universe. There are other books I'm reading today. I just want to share that. And this book is called Never Never Flirt with Puppy Killers. Never Flirt with Puppy Killers. And it's by John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck. And he talks about I'll just leave it at that, because let's focus on the mindfulness. But it's important to know that there are people that have intentions that are not good. So how do we deal with them, and how can we work with all these parts of humanity and respectfully? And this one is about better living, better living, better living. It's by Neil Zawik and Bill Brown, and it's illustrated by Bill Brown right there. Okay, Neil Zawik. Okay, it's about better living. So how can we live better as human beings? And the other book I'm reading is this one. It's called "Lighting the Fires of Freedom." Lighting the Fires of Freedom. And it's African and an American African women in the civil rights movement. Okay, so right there, and it's by Janet DeWatt Bell. Janet DeWatt Bell. Okay. So this is it touches on the role of women in contributing towards consciousness and humanity, and how they care. Because usually the women are the ones that feel they care about humanity a lot because they know what it is to experience pain, challenges, to raise a child, to nurture a child, to care for the family, to support family. The men mostly tend to have big ego. Women can have big ego too, but the men have a lot of big ego or like pride, and they want to be respected, and they want to be protective and things like that. It's just a masculine nature, and so it's important to learn to be humble, because if one is proud, then pride comes before a fall. So it's important to learn to be humble and to respect other people, listen to them, know how to understand each other, and to wisely work together, whether it's a man, a woman, or any kind of person, or whatever cultural heritage group or whatever level of understanding or social status or this and that. We are all one human family, one big, beautiful human family. It's like these fingers, they work together. They're different. This place, this side is lighter, this side is darker, and but it's the same hand, it's the same human family, and they work together. I don't see this finger shooting that finger, or this finger like yelling at that one, or this finger trying to like steal the food and the resources of the other finger. They work together because they're a team. So the human family can be like that, a team. And but it's an individual choice. It's not a requirement. It's a personal choice, and it's just reaching that level of consciousness where you're like, oh, that's the guy's, the person or the woman or the man, or that they're just part of my human family, and I really appreciate what they are doing. They're an artist, they're a doctor, they're an architect, and I support them in whichever way that I can support them or we can support them to be successful. They are contributing towards the good of humanity. And this is also another book. It's called Until We Are Free. Until We Are Free. And this is a reflection on the Black Lives Matter in Canada. Reflection on the Black Lives Matter in Canada. And the African people are called Black people in North America, in US and in Canada. For whatever reason, I have no idea. The Europeans have a myth about the fear of a black person. So they have things like they talk about things like black market, or they talk about there's a pit in Holland. They have a legend about Pit who used to come through a chimney and was black, and they would bring. It's related to like something like Christmas. So they have like a Father Christmas who is light, pale skinned, and they have the myth of Pete who was dark skinned, and with soot on the face, and so they have all these legends and all that. There's a lot of it's a lot of it is driven by fear, instead of by the faith of humanity and the appreciation of each other. So if one wants to operate in fear and ignorance and divide humanity, well, it's up to you. And then a lot of the people that talk about things like ideas like supremacists, or they just operate from insecurity, because if I want to be superior to someone else, what's the point of it? That person may be able to contribute something to humanity same as me. So it's just like, so why would anyone that's reasonable want to be superior to another person? We are all human beings. We are all human beings, and each person has their own unique way to contribute. It's just the greed, or the sense of individual pride that like, oh, uh, uh, or I want to have a pride party, or because of insecurity that's in a person, and that insecurity comes from a place of foolishness, and not trying to oh, I'm superior to you, so I can bully you, so I can take advantage of you, so I can steal your resources, so I can kill, so I can destroy, so I can harm. But they're harming themselves. They're harming themselves, and they're also harming their family and generations, and trying to take advantage of others, or like seeking to harm others, just so that they can privilege themselves, and and in that way it ends up harming the or attempting. They cannot like harm the universe. It's attempting to harm the beauty and the nature of Mother Earth. So who the heck in their right mind want to harm their own mother, or their own relative, or their own human family? It's like self-harming a person, or a person self-harming themselves. It is like utterly ridiculous. But it's up to each one to figure out how to be like a person that has peace of mind, and because a person that's self-harming is operating from a fear, which is anxiety, which causes mental health anxiety and mental health illness and crises like that. And that anxiety can eat a person from within and cause something like disease, or disease in the mind, and that eats a person's energy, and the energy, or the what would have gone to improve a person, ends up harming them and causing things like cancer, or like making a person devious, or like wanting to take advantage of a system or a structure, or like government and resources, and even manufacturing things called viruses, and or like chemical weapons and bombs and guns and this and that. Just they are called instruments of mass destruction, or like trying to population control, or reserve the potential of this society, or this community, or that group, or that family. And this that's stupidity. Instead we can be wise, we can be knowledgeable, we can be more understanding, we can be more compassionate as human beings, and support each other, support each and every other person. Imagine if we supported all 8 billion plus people to become extremely able to contribute towards humanity and actualize their full potential. Uh, Imagine if every other person was able to do that, design these, become the best company, or become the best product producer of a product or a service, or like a skill, or construct these, or like make some brand new technology. uh, Imagine how wonderful humanity would be. We would have already reached the stars. We would have already explored the universe. We would have been able to work together more meaningfully. But um, uh, uh, some human beings can be so petty sometimes. Shakespeare said we are born to a stage of fools, a grand stage of fools, because we just wallow in foolishness. It's just funny. It's just ridiculous. He wrote plays about it, and like he was just mainly commenting about the ridiculous nature of the people that were ruling Europe at that time. He was commenting about his own society, and which also relates to the whole of humanity and how it works. Look at the way Rome and Greece and the Babylonian Empire and other empires, including Egypt and others. They rose and they fell, including the Turkish and all that. They rose and they fell. Now America and Canada, which is said to be the new Sodom, America, and Gomorrah, Canada, are facing the same challenges. What do we do? And Canada is related to Australia because they are like cousins, and the people in Canada and the Australians are related, and related to mainly the ones in Europe and the ones in America, and others like in the Middle East, because there's a lot of people from the Jewish community, or like other communities in Asia and Africa, and but also influence things like banking or things like trade or in things and things like commerce and other things like that. So it's about figuring out how to work with all this and bring out the good of humanity and all humanity. But it's really upon the compassionate people to be more brave, to be more caring, to be more share the success or their knowledge, their ideas, and be more daring in like speaking up or sharing good ideas. It's not about bashing each other's heads or like shooting one or try and take advantage of this and the other. It's just about being the best human being that each and every person can be, or whatever, or whatever. It's a personal choice anyway to live mindfully. It's a personal choice to be able to live mindfully and not be a scatterbrain. See, this is the other book I'm reading today. It's called Scatterbrain. Scatterbrain. It's by Henning Beck. Henning Beck. Okay, and it's a brilliant and engaging user's guide to the brain and how to use your brain, my brain, our collective human brains to make humanity better. And it's how the mind the mind's mistakes, how the mind's mistakes make human creative innovativeness and success or successfulness. And this is talking about mistakes, but the mind analyzes very many things in good ways. The mind can also make mistakes, and the mind can learn. And consciousness, we as a human conscious person, I can learn, you can learn, and not be just a scatterbrain, but be able to use your brain, your thinking, your ability, your resources, your money, your whatever other resources we have, not just other resources or be greedy about them, but use them well and work towards the good of humanity and live mindfully in this universe, the other thing that I want to share is just some general information about mindfulness. So what is it that is important about being mindful? What are some of the things that are important about living mindfully? Let's have a look at some of them. Um, uh, and just give me a second here as I bring it up. Uh, let's see. Okay, here we go. Uh, what does living mindfully win? What does living mindfully mean? Remember, success or like a living or like is an action. It's active. So breathe. It's like breathing. It's like eating. It's like walking. It's an active. It's an action. So living mindfully is about 5 things. 1, presence. Being present, being aware. In other words, what am I aware? What am I feeling? What am I sensing? Using 5 common sense: see, touch, taste, feel, and what's the other one? and so use the 5 common sense, and then be able to relate to others, appreciate others, reflect, and then be proactive. In other words, I can live mindfully. It's about taking moments throughout the day, throughout life, and through the experiences, and be present, fully present within an environment, within a family or a situation, and everything in it. And also, it's about being aware of myself as an individual and my impact on other individuals or the space or the environment, and acknowledging the ripple effects that I have, you have, we have, and working with that responsibly. Simple ways to live mindfully is appreciate what I have, you have, we have, and some people say the less the better, because the more you have, the more harm you're causing. So you're being greedy. So the less, the better. And decide what is essential, what's essential for you, for me, for us, or for a family or a country, and this, and do less of everything else, or do less. So just work with what is essential, what is essential, and so that we have the best chance to be successful, to get the best job, opportunities, success, enterprise, relationship, and whatever it is that is best, and work with that, to contribute towards practicing a meditative type of life. In other words, a thoughtful life, an intentional life that helps us overcome, or relieve the stress of success, because it takes energy to be successful. So work with that, and work with the effects of it, and use and also slow down, relax, be able to enjoy life, the beauty of it. What's about rushing through life, driving and flying, and all this, rushing through life like a crazy person, and then getting stressed out? Just slow down and take moments, do whatever you need to do, and then slow down, relax, and spend time with family, read, walk, and whatever it is that makes you feel happy and enjoy life. And also use each moment of life, in the morning, in the midday, in the night, in the evening, to be mindful, to remember you are human, I'm human, and we are not just random human beings that are chasing success in a wild marketplace, or trying to economize each other. Economize means reserve the potential of each other, and so that one can thrive, or create something in economics, something called scarcity. That's how the economy works. uh, it's good to rise above that and be able to be efficient as a person, excellent and effective, and also be able to be accountable, transparent, and reliable, respectful, resourceful, resilient, and resolute in the way we work together as human beings. And exercise our individual skills, ability, and intelligence, and 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 also be careful in not going overboard, but listening to other people, being open to correction, being um, um, being able to adjust my own way of life, and work, and contribute to humanity meaningfully. Also, mindfulness is about being able to do one thing at a time. You can multitask, but be able to focus on whatever you're focusing on, uh, with intent, with good um, um, focus. I just use the same one, focus. And also being able to do the challenging things in life, or the chores, in other words, the things that we don't want to do but we have to do. For example, cleaning a toilet, or washing dishes, or making a bed, or this and the other. They may not be as enjoyable, but we need to do them. Or taking someone to hospital, or treating them, or um, uh, or caring about each other. I may be busy with other things, but if I see someone fall, then I'm like, oh my, then I feel compassion. I want to help. So, or helping someone that's less fortunate, or uplifting each other, taking time to uplift each other, listen to each other, encourage each other, share food, eat with awareness, and eat healthy food, and share healthy spaces, make the spaces we live in more caring. Yeah, the other thing is being mindful allows you as a person, a body, mind, spirit, and a person with a good soul, to get over stress and negative emotions, thoughts, feelings, patterns, or associated behavior, and being able to set aside or toss aside those patterns that are destructive or distractions, and be able to free myself and liberate myself, to be free, to be creative, to be to be able to live my birthright, my royal, much majestic and sovereign birthright, which is an ability of each and every person, not just one or two families. It's each and every person has that ability to be royal, to be majestic, to be sovereign, and to be creative, productive, to be energetic, to be able to have an area of expertise or domain that they can contribute towards humanity. This is my speciality. This is my passion. And also as a mindful person, it's good to overcome distractions, feelings, and whatever it is that is disturbing or that can affect the calm or the control or self-control of a person or mannerism, and be able to acknowledge emotions and labels, and not just like bully or call people names and all that, but be able to care for each other and be compassionate and self-respectful, and be able to move forward as a person, as a family, or as humanity or cultural heritage group. The other thing about humanity, mindfulness, is, can a person be too mindful? Is it possible to have excess or high levels of uh, of mindfulness? What happens if it's excess? If it's excess, then I can be able to check and balance myself, observe my awareness or intentions, or direct my energy in whichever way that is good, and also be able to bring myself to the present moment and associate with myself with the and I just check myself and balance myself, so that I am, or you are, or we are not in a state of depression, anxiety, or disassociation, or disconnection with self, or seeking relief in things like substance abuse or drug abuse, or excesses in misbehavior, or seeking self-harm through pain, or just playing with tolerance or intolerance, or just things like that. It's important to be aware of things like that too. The other thing is, what is a more mindful person? How can a person be more mindful? Being more mindful means being aware of your thoughts, my thoughts, our thoughts, my personal feelings, my attitude. I can check it. I can see how I'm working with it, how it's working for me, how it's working for the community, how it's working for the family. Because is there a right or something that's right that I'm doing, or that's wrong that I'm doing? Is there a better way to do it, to think, to feel? Each moment in life, I can be able to learn. I can open myself to like a beautiful flower to learn and be more mindful, be more aware of my own thoughts and feelings, and take full responsibility for my actions and my contribution, be able to teach and share and learn from others, from myself, my own experiences, my past, my present, my goals, my aspirations, and live in moment by moment, enjoying each wonderful moment of life as it happens in its fullness, and also being analytical and working with good opportunities, or whichever opportunities there are in life. Also, what happens if there are differences of opinion? What happens in my own mind if there's conflict, and what if there's a messy situation in the mind, or in society, or in a relationship? How do we work with that? Things that make us sad, or make us feel overwhelmed, or that reduce the productivity, or make a person feel unproductive. If someone is, let's say, ill, or not feeling well, or not good in the mind, in this body, on the spirit, or how do we deal with this? How might I be able to restore mindfulness and work and bring about that sense of calm, or a nice experience, or just enjoy small things like eating a cookie, or an ice cream, or going for a walk, or just be able to take a break and relax, and focus on what is important. What is important, and what important is relative to a person, in a situation. And Richard's research has shown that mindfulness helps, it says here, that research has shown that mindfulness helps to reduce anxiety and depression. Mindfulness teaches us how to respond to stress with awareness, self-awareness of what is happening and what is in the present moment, rather than simply acting instinctively or unaware of what emotions or motives that drive a person, a decision, or a society, or a government, or a country, or whatever it is that we are working with. When is mindfulness a bad idea? Sometimes it can be a bad idea. Uh, for example, in observing awareness or the facets of mindfulness, you and I, or we can have repeated repeated experience that we associate with worst mental health, or like mental illness or mental anxiety. This include increase in depression, anxiety, disassociation, or not being able to like detach from the experience and be objective. And this can result in things like someone seeking solace in drug abuse, in addiction, in bullying, in like being self-harming, or trying to take advantage of others, or being corrupt, or crafty, or like manipulative, or like and other types of personalities that decrease the ability of a person to function well, or like or other things that a person turns to try and tolerate pain or suffering, or like or whatever threats that they feel they're experiencing in life, and or trauma, whatever type of traumas that a person may be going through. And what does mindfulness feel like? What are the 7 principles of mindfulness? One, it's good to be non-judgmental. In other words, be objective. Be an impartial person, like a person who's witnessing your own experience, and like look at it objectively, and what can I do? How can I learn from it? How can I work best with it? And it's important to be patient, to have knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and patience to demonstrate that willingness to appreciate everybody as they are in every situation that it is, and learn from it, and figure out how to work with it, and be able to live in a mindful universe, be able to live in a mindful universe. Okay. The other thing that is important, I think, to talk about is what if a person is beginning or whatever stage of mindfulness? Remember, each and every moment of life is a beginning, is a new beginning. So I can work on my own personal development. You can work on your own personal development. We can work on our development as human beings, and grow, develop, and cultivate success. Be curious about what allows us, what we can work with, what I'm receptive to, the new things that are coming up, and work with that. See, how is this contributing towards improvement, or harm, or destruction, or this and that, and just be objective in whom we trust, whom we can work with, and what I can do to develop good trust in myself, in others, and in whichever situation, or team, or government, or this and the other. And also the idea of striving. What am I striving for? What's important not to strive for? What is it that's important for me to strive towards, and to accept, or to let go, or detach from? So these are things, or the concepts or principles of mindfulness. The other thing that is important is key attitudes of mindfulness. Is mindfulness and it's being mindful and mindfulness the same? What is the difference between mindfulness and mindlessness? The dual concept. This is about duality, like a yin and a yang duality. The dual concept of mindfulness and mindlessness are described as mindfulness is a state of consciousness or awareness in which the individual is implicitly aware of the context and the information in that context. And primary difference between mindfulness may result from a single exposure of information. How do I practice mindfulness, say, for example, in eating? Because that's a basic need of humanity. Eat slowly, just relax, enjoy the food, enjoy the moment, enjoy the conversation if there's a conversation, and don't rush through life or meals or things like that. Just enjoy each moment. It's just that's what life is all about anyway. It's about enjoying the experience of and the totality of living. The other thing that is important is sharing. Share the food, and even as a person, just chew your food well, and so that you get the nutrients of it. Just enjoy the experience. Listen to the conversation, or listen to a person, or like share. Listening is a very important skill. It's like eating the food itself, and like ruminating on it, thinking about it, and like okay, so what's the person saying, what are they um, uh, uh, what can I learn from it, how can I teach, how can I share, how can I contribute to this conversation. And it's also important to eliminate distractions. Let's say, for example, if you're eating food, sharing food, having a conversation, eliminate the distractions so you're able to focus totally on the experience in that present moment. For example, turn off the TV or turn off radio and this and that, and take a moment just to like be, just be in the moment, and enjoy that specific moment, and not be so much on into technology, or into like the phone, or into like whatever type of media there is, because that can be a distraction. Be like a little child who cares about the moment. They're just happy, or they're sad, or they're this, and then they get over it, and then they're like, oh, okay, let's go have ice cream, or like they're just like. That's why in spirituality they say the experience of heavenly bliss is enjoyed by someone who is like a little child. And like a little child can sleep anywhere, or like just like even in heavy traffic, they're just like, I'm tired, I want to sleep, or like I'm frustrated, and I'm throw a tantrum, or like or like I want to poop, or like I want to like pee, or like they just have spontaneous experience. And as human beings, as adults, we have self-control, but we can have that spontaneity of a little child within us, because we everyone has a little child within them. So bring out that lovely, refreshing spontaneity, and be able also to enjoy silence. For example, just like enjoy eating in silence, or like being in silence, or like meditating as a person, and or listening to a child cry, and like, oh, so what's happening to the child and stuff like that. There's a child crying in the library with a parent, so they're okay. And the parent will take care of the child. Is taking good care of the child. They're bringing the child to the library, so that's a responsible parent or a guardian. Or anyway, it's important to focus on how I feel, how you feel, how we feel, the emotions, and work with that. And for example, if it's food, if you're sharing food, what does the food, the texture feel like, or the experience of life feel like? Just be able to like work with it. For example, now I'm feeling cold, so I want to put on a glove because it's cold in Canada. It's cold in Canada, so I have two gloves now. I feel better. I feel warm. Anyway, so and also it's important to deal with the realities of life, like if there's a trauma or a disappointment or experience that I like or don't like, be honest about it, be genuine, and because we're not the same all the time. So it's just figure out how to work with that, and in a very reasonable way, respectful way, and resourceful way. The other thing I want to mention is know when to stop. This is important. Know when enough is enough, and just stop, relax. I've had enough. I've eaten enough. I've talked enough. Now it's time. For example, I'm about to come to the end of this discussion about mindfulness, and because we cannot soak up everything, or every detail, or every experience, or like um, um, say, oh, I'm trying to raise my IQ. After all, IQ is just relative to a society, or a setting, or a measure of intelligence, of for whatever reason. So we can use the components of individual intelligence to come up to improve the functions of your brain, my brain, our brain, and as a human consciousness, and work with it, bring out, practice cognitive skills such as mindfulness that can literally change your mind, change my mind, and transform the brain, the intelligence, and make us more productive, more caring, more wonderful, more wonderful human beings, more wonderful human beings. And so it's up to us. It's up to you. It's up to me to figure that out. It's up to each and everyone. The Also, there are many other things that are important in mindfulness, and there are various types of spiritual approaches to it, or physical or personal choices, personal integrity, and many other ways to work with living mindfully in the universe. This is the book that I'm referencing today. It's about living mindfully in the universe. The book is by Eben Alexander and Karen Newell. Eben Alexander is a medical doctor, and living in a mindful universe, living in a mindful universe. Anyways, my name is Simba Kiproti Charapruto. Greetings from Halifax City, Nova Scotia Province, Canada. And this has been about living mindfully in living in a mindful universe. Let's live more mindfully in this universe and contribute towards the betterment and improvement of humanity, and also our own self-development, growth, development, and cultivation of success as good souls, as a good soul, as a good person, and with good values, good character, good self-control, a good resourcefulness, good respect, good resilience, and good resolute focus on success, and not to disadvantaging others, but working together with others in a meaningful way. Anyway, thank you so much. My name is Simba Kiproti Charapruto. Greetings to my family and friends in Canada, in Kenya, and worldwide. And thank you. Asante sana in Swahili. Toda raba in Hebrew. Xie in Chinese, gracias in Spanish, German, danke in German, Hindi, Asian language, Hindi, language of India, Dhanyawat, thank you very much. In Punjabi, shukriya, which is also the similar word in Arabic, shukran. And in Swahili, we also use a similar word, shukrani. And in Farsi and in Iran, they use a similar word too. These are different languages in the world, because we are all one human family. We're one big, beautiful human family. Thank you so much. Greetings from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Halifax City, Nova Scotia Province, Canada. And all the best to you and your family. Thank you so much. I wish you success.